As soon as my doctor saw my numbers of 120/80, he automatically assumed I have high blood pressure and then did advise me to follow a specific diet and lose weight. And of course, when this fails, as often it does, because it's not a freaking universal cure, the first medication prescribed was a fluid pill to reduce the volume and pressure in the blood vessels. And lowering the amount of fluid through these pipes lowers the pressure, but multiple side effects tend to occur. So now I am back at the doctor's office, and now I'm being prescribed even more drugs. And of course, every side effects will almost lead to another drug. And I end up being on 3 different high blood pressure drugs. But for many people, including myself, my high blood pressure is caused by a deficiency. So while I was on these drugs, I did experience spasms, migraines, eye twitches, depression, insomnia, heart arrhythmias, and I felt like freaking vegetable. And one of the worst side effects you get from calcium channel blocker is brain shrinkage. And it has been proven by MRI to cause shrinking of the brain within 5 years of usage. So I'm super glad that I did stop all my meds within less than 3 months of usage. That said, continue watching as I will explain everything I've done and supplements I take. So imagine shrinkage of brain that will lead to loss of intellect, decision making, memory, personality, emotional control, and more. So this is how the sick get sicker quicker when they take drugs instead of finding and fixing the underlying actual cause of symptoms. And after intensive research and could not sleep for days, I came across the first mineral, which is magnesium, as it's a natural calcium blocker without any side effects. So how did I repair the membrane? Well, by restoring the sandwich layer of a fatty acid that have become depleted by years of wrong diets. But some membranes are so badly damaged over the years that they need more than just restoration of magnesium. Now, make sure you do write down magnesium chloride as supplement number 1. So my average diet only provided about 40% or less than half of magnesium requirement in a day. And now I understood why there is such an epidemic of high blood pressure, because 80% of the population is deficient. On the flip side, multiple studies have shown that the greater intake of magnesium actually lowers the risk of developing heart disease, sudden death, and even high blood pressure. And for many of us, we need to increase our daily magnesium to 400 to 600 milligrams and actually saturate our blood cells properly. Therefore, in return, there won't be even high blood pressure. So my process was super simple for anyone to do. Got myself liquid magnesium chloride and took 140 milligrams, which is 20 drops per cup, every 2 to 3 hours until my cells were actually saturated. And what I mean by saturating the cells, you will actually experience the laxative effect. And when that happens, I reduce the dose to a maintenance level. So for example, I took 140 milligrams 5 times a day. That's a total of 700 milligrams daily. At 13 weeks, I started getting the laxative effect on the 5th dose. So therefore, I cut back to 4 doses per day. At 18 weeks, I felt the laxative effect on the 4th dose. Therefore, I cut back to 3 doses per day. And continue this process until you are possibly left with about 2 or 3 doses per day, equivalent to about 280 or 420 milligrams moving forward as maintenance. And guys, go to the greatest cardiologist in the country and ask him for the best test that shows your chances of dying early from a heart attack. 2 to 1, he will use your cholesterol level and your blood pressure as indicators, since there are part of the standard that physicians follow because there are drugs for them. And multiple studies over and over again have shown elevated cholesterol have no bearing on early heart attacks or strokes. But because medicine is owned by pharmaceutical industry, we merely check for parameters like cholesterol and blood pressure for which these are drugs you can take until the day you freaking die. And one important test is knowing your vitamin A, C, and E levels gives you a 90% accurate forecast of your chances of early heart death. If these levels are below normal, make sure you are supplementing with the following, as I did take vitamin A 5000 IU of beta carotene, vitamin C 1000 milligrams of liposomal, and vitamin E tocotrienols of 400 IU. Guys, this is your second vitamin on the list. So now when it comes down to lifestyle and eating habits, keep an eye on trans fats, not your trans fats that are found naturally within our meats or dairy, but I'm talking about man-made trans fats and others, such as vegetable oils, seed oils, canola, safflower, soybeans, some avocado oils, cotton seeds, flax seeds, and others. And I think most stable and best without being oxidized are animal fats, coconut oil, and cold pressed organic olive oil. And make sure once your olive oil is freaking open, it should be used within under 30 days. Now, the biggest problem with all fats, except the ones I mentioned, are heavily processed, rancid, and inedible. As all corporations, they add hydrogen molecules to actually prevent oils from oxidizing. But the hydrogenated oils act very abnormally when they get inside our bodies, causing high blood pressure, arteriosclerosis, high blood cholesterol, cancer, diabetes, and multiple other diseases. Now, earlier I did mention essential fatty acids. Now, if you do not eat fattier fish at least twice a week, then get some cod liver oil. My levels were so freaking depleted, and my ratio omega-6 to omega-3 were actually 10-1. And within about 45 days of taking cod liver oil, I was able to bring it up to 1-to-1 ratio, taking roughly 1 tablespoon in the morning and another in the evening with a last meal. It did not only control my blood pressure because it does act as an anticoagulant, it did restore the membrane normal function, and you can actually stop and reverse any damages from high blood pressure and high blood pressure drugs. Guys, this is your third supplement, and I hope you are taking notes. I think it's almost criminal for a cardiologist to ignore assaying and correcting taurine, CoQ10, carnitine, arginine, especially in someone dying of heart failure. And my fourth supplement that I tend to take 3 grams 3 times a day is L-taurine. Not only is the leading amino acid in the brain, eyes, and platelets that control clotting in the heart, it's also crucial in making bile from digestive fats, lowering cholesterol levels, helping magnesium get inside the cells, and for detoxification of our everyday onslaught of freaking chemicals. It gets used way up too much and way too quickly. And most of us are freaking deficient. And when I did a full blood panel, I was completely deficient with carnitine and taurine. For intake, you can do 3 grams up to 3 times a day of taurine, or some days I tend to mix it with carnitine of 1000 milligrams, ubiquinol of 150 milligrams, and 2000 milligrams of taurine. This could be your 5th and 6th supplement if you decide to add them. Now, when it comes down to eating habits, I am 100% strict carnivore, eating mostly meat, eggs, fish, minor intake of cheeses, and very minimal fruits, whatever is in season. But in addition, I do not consume high fat intake from animal. I keep it minimal based on my training days. But I do practice a carb load once a week, last meal of the day, with white rice to refuel glycogen storage. And I do capitalize on celery and use of garlic, as garlic does help with enos production and heals the arterial damages. And with celery containing one of the most powerful antioxidants, help relax blood vessels, providing the same benefit of calcium channel blocker without the actual side effects of brain shrinkage. And Russian garlic that I use being soaked with apple cider vinegar for a few weeks, it does help lower my blood pressure, and part of it acts like ACE inhibitor but without the nasty side effects or possible cost of this commonly prescribed hypertensive drug therapy. Now, in addition, if your arteries are damaged, a blood test called LPPLA2 or MPO will be above normal, and with taking 3 cloves of garlic have stabled my numbers for MPO and LPPLA2, but the process took roughly about 8 months to actually heal it. But be careful of overusing garlic as it tends to kill brain cells. Now, other things I added to my lifestyle is getting only grass-fed, grass-finished beef, lamb, wild-caught salmon, pasture-raised eggs. I do not consume chicken much at all. And if going to have some fruits or even a carb load once a week, I try as much as possible to make sure it's organic. And of course, I did purchase a water filter, as I have behind me, by Berkey. Once I filter the water, I do add a couple of drops of trace minerals. And to make sure I am benefiting fully from every meal, I do take digestive enzymes prior to every meal. If you are going to add digestive enzyme, this would be your supplement number 7. So I think by now you are too smart to fail. Let's face it, you can never go back to the archaic world of drug-oriented medicine. No one can easily pull the wool over your eyes. You know more about how you heal your hypertension than most doctors. But just in case you find yourself thinking none of this appeals to you, or that it is easier to do drugs, let's look at some other solutions. In addition, with everything I've shared with you, lifestyle changes are super important to work hand in hand with the supplements. And do not stop any medications until blood levels come back clear and precise the way we want them to be. Make no mistake, rare is the person who would need all the remedies I've mentioned to heal their hypertension. Some of the supplements could be used temporary and some could be used for life due to genetic or damages have gone way too far. However, there are many more alternatives that I will continue to share. Other things to eliminate: if you are a smoker, stop. The pesticides, additives, coal tars, and other chemicals in the smoke damage the endothelial lining, leading to heart disease. Or if you are currently consuming junk food, getting off would be great. If you are overweight by 20 pounds or more, a whole food diet or elimination diet, eating what is biologically made for a human, would be ideal for the initial 90 days to get your system back on track. But above all, never underestimate the power of getting off trans fatty acid, as they raise oxidized LDL cholesterol, which lowers your nitric oxide, which in turn causes heart disease, hypertension, and many other diseases. And don't fall for the ridiculous statement that you get enough nutrition from your foods and do not require additional supplementation. Our soils are progressively more depleted from acid rain and repeated growing of crops. Consequently, food measurements show that foods do not have as much nutrient value, and the body is exposed to way more pollutants than ever before in the history of the world, requiring more detox nutrients. And worse, every freaking drug depletes nutrients from the body, setting you up even more so for disease. And this trick has been pulled from pharmaceuticals to continue keeping the sick sicker and continue feeding you freaking drugs. Furthermore, bear in mind, I have given you lots of nutrient supplementation ideas and data. Many have also been highly successful with far less. But no matter what, the following items should always be used to maintain healthy blood vessels: 400 milligrams of magnesium chloride, 30 milligrams of zinc sulfate, 1000 milligrams of vitamin C, 200 milligrams of vitamin E tocotrienols, omega-3 cod liver oil of 3000 milligrams, niacin as nicotinic acid of 500 milligrams, and nitrate supplements to prevent any coagulation and allow proper oxygen flow. In addition, I'm going to share some important blood work to get tested for HbA1c, Lp small a, ApoB, ApoA1, Fibrinogen, Homocysteine, Lipid total, free T3, RBC magnesium, RBC potassium, make sure it's not serum, HS-CRP, vitamin D, MPO, LPPLA2, GFR, ACR, ALT, GGT, vitamin A, C, E, and L-Carnitine. And when it comes down to blood work, this is the only predictor that we can find out if our vessels are healing. And I'm sure the supplements and the lifestyles changes are freaking working. The whole idea is to stop the progression and slowly heal and reverse. And once we hit optimal levels with your current doctor's supervision, you can start to wean off medication and in time could be stopped. Guys, keep in mind, this is not an overnight solution. It could take more than a year or more. Please be patient and continue eating healthy and taking your freaking supplements on a consistent basis. And your last test could be a calcium CT score. Now this produces a picture of the coronary arteries to determine if they are blocked or narrowed by buildup of plaque. In addition, before ending this video, I will list all the supplements I am currently taking within the comments below, the blood work and more. And guys, if you know someone with high blood pressure who is currently struggling to balance it, please consider sharing this video and you can literally change someone's life. And if my videos help you improve your health in a small way, please consider funding me $1 or $2. Therefore, I can continue sharing some valuable information and research that I've done over the years.